We have not had a genuinely responsible administration in Washington since Eisenhower.
That far back?
That far back. Eisenhower paid down the debt of World War II. We had a huge debt at the end of World War II. You can just
Well,
imagine.
it was massive. It was the order of 130% of GDP, I think.
That's right.
And then you turned around on top of that. Truman, to his great credit, borrowed another $13 billion in the money of 1948 for the Marshall Plan.
Yes.
Without which Europe could not have been reconstructed.
Well, and Truman also fought the Korean War, which was very expensive.
And helped reconstruct Japan. That must have cost money as well.
Yeah.
That was America at its peak.
Right. In the aftermath, Eisenhower cut budgets, and he kept the taxes high. I think he would have been better if he cut the taxes some, because I think the take from cutting the taxes would have exceeded the loss from what you lose when you cut taxes. But leave that aside. He did that, and he began paying that debt down, not to nothing, but to the level where it was inconsequential in terms of sustaining the value of the currency. See, what we could have now after 70 years, well, not 70 years, 60 years of malfeasance, is we could have a currency collapse.
Yes.
And what would cause it would be if we cease to be the reserve currency internationally.
Yes.
I think that is a serious possibility. It is certainly what the Chinese, the Russians, and so forth will try to accomplish. And look, the Europeans created the euro in order.
It's very timely.
Yeah. So I look back. We were profligate. Kennedy was not so bad. From Johnson on, we were profligate. But no one was as profligate as we are now. I mean,
it's mind-boggling.
Yes.
And now we've got the reality: you've got to spend a lot of money in the Ukraine.
Right.
Which is, after COVID, ought to be yet another warning that it's time to put some shots back into the locker, to start to put something aside for the next rainy day.
Yes.
Because it'll come.
Oh, of course it'll come. It'll come, and it will be larger than Ukraine. I think Ukraine is manageable because the Russians are the Russians. I can't believe the idiocy of
It'd be a bit easier.
Not knowing there'd be resistance. I mean, they're right next to you. Yeah. Your intelligence people can surely tell you everything that's going on in Ukraine. And they send in these tanks in the spring where they can't leave the roads or they end up in the mud. All you have to do is knock out the first tank and the last tank, and then you can wipe out the rest of them when you please, or just starve them to death in between. But no, there's reality is going to bite, and I think it's going to bite pretty soon. If it doesn't begin biting in 2022, it will bite by 2024, because ordinary people know something is very, very wrong, and
the data shows that, doesn't it? Really?
Oh yes, and increasingly.
Yeah.
The other thing is some of the sort of permanent features or semi-permanent features of American politics are beginning to change. I'm not sure that the black vote is safe for the Democrats anymore. And if you got 20% of African Americans voting Republican, it would just upend everything. And it's very clear that the Hispanic vote is not safe for the Democrats anymore. So let me put it this way. When I was growing up, the Republican Party was the party of small business and big business. Democratic Party was the party of the unions and the segregated South. The two parties have really changed.
They flipped.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at a map of America and the red and the blue, it's reversed.
Yes.
Over the last couple of decades.
Yes, and it starts with Clinton, because he's the one who makes an appeal to Hollywood. He's the one who makes an appeal to the hedge fund operators, to the to the financial classes. And he was pretty successful at that. And the Republicans, really by dint of Donald Trump's acuity with regard to who was aggrieved, have become the working class party.
Yeah.
They may become the party of the working stiff, not the white working class, but the black working class as well. That could easily happen because the cities are going to get worse and worse with this defund the police business and with the election of DAs who won't enforce the law. It's interesting times.